What was it like for your family, well, for you and your mother during the early years in Chicago?
It was difficult because at first she was able to get work as what we call a day worker. They got so much a day plus coffee, and this was during the Depression. And so the
Oh,
time
yes.
came when she couldn't even get a job.
This was 1933, right?
1933,
Yes.
like 1934, she couldn't get any kind of job. My stepfather finally came after we didn't go back,
Yes.
and he was looking for a job as a street cleaner or any kind of job, and he couldn't get a job. So we went on welfare in 1934 and was on welfare until 1936.
And how did your family deal with that, the fact that you were on welfare? Because your mother sounds very independent.
Yeah, she was, and she
Yes.
was very sad about it, but there was no other choice. As a matter of fact, what happened really is that when we applied for welfare, they called it relief then, they said we hadn't lived in Chicago long enough and that we were not eligible. So my mother wrote a letter to the president, Franklin Roosevelt. And in those days, somehow that letter got back to Illinois, and they put us on welfare. My mother has always believed until her death that Roosevelt personally read the letter and personally called up the people and made them put us on welfare. So we were on welfare. But in those days, they did not give you money. They gave you food.
I see.
And there were big trucks that would come into the community passing out food. And I remember some other little boys and I would be sitting on the corner. And
These were the welfare trucks.
welfare trucks.
Yes, I
And
see.
we were all on welfare.
I see.
and-
So there were trucks that would come in
Truck
with the
with
supplies
food, with
and
supplies, food, yeah.
Oh, I see.
And there was no money involved. And so the truck would stop at my house. God said, just stopped at your house. I said, no, that's not my house. You know I don't live there. And then it would stop at some other boy's house.
Because of the embarrassment?
Embarrassment. But that was a good thing because we wanted to get off.
Yes,
You know,
That's right.
Unfortunately now, some people don't always want to get off.
yes.
No, and so we got off as soon as we could. We got off by him getting a WPA job,
Your stepfather.
stepfather, and I was in high school, and I got an NYA job, National Youth Administration, and so that's how we got off welfare.
That was under Roosevelt's New Deal?
That's under Roosevelt's New Deal.
I see. Did you see that the New Deal helped many African Americans during that time?
Oh yes, it did. It helped many of us. There was no other way to survive.
I see.
No, it was a good thing.
Did your mother belong to another political party before she wrote the letter to Roosevelt and got a good response from him?
No, in Arkansas, there wasn't no political parties for black people.
I see.
And when she got here, the lady we were living with was a Democrat.
Yes,
So we were Democrats.
I see.
But I think we also were for black elected officials because I remember going to a meeting at her house when Oscar DePriest spoke. He was the first black congressman from the North. Because up until then, they were all from the South.
I see. Will you describe your high school environment in Chicago?
Yes, it was enjoyable. In the beginning, the kids made fun of me because I had mammy-made clothes, they called them in those days.
Mammy-made clothes.
Mammy-made clothes.
They thought your clothes were country?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I spoke with a strong Southern accent, and all of them were from Chicago. And so they used to poke fun at me. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it made me determined to get back at them. And the only way I could get back at them was to be smarter than they were. So I studied harder, and I practiced public speaking in front of the mirror. So when they had the organization of my junior class, I was the only one who had enough nerve to make a speech. So they elected me president of the junior class. I was president of the senior class, president of the student council, editor-in-chief of the school paper.
Ah, the beginning of journalism.
So I began to, feel good about myself.
Good. So the Chicago move was very positive for you.
Yeah.
And your mother obviously could see that in
Yes,
you.
yes.
Were there any clear differences between the Arkansas school system and the Chicago school system that you were in?
No, the Arkansas system was a good system
Yes.
because I they had, when I first went to school the first day, they were talking about 9A and 9B and 10A and 10B, and I obviously selected A. And A put me a whole year ahead.
I see.
And I was able to keep up.
Were the students, I mean, not the students, but the teachers, were they as nurturing, as
They-
supportive as
they-
the teachers in Arkansas?
They were the same. They were
the same.
They were nurturing and supporting both the black and white teachers.
So there were black and white teachers teaching in the Chicago public school system.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh. I see.
And most of our teachers were white. But the one teacher that I remember, and all the people who went there remember, is a white teacher named Mary Herrick. She just didn't just teach civics, which was the subject she taught, but she also taught us how to be better people. And if someone was running short, she'd find some way to help them out. She invited us to her home. She took us downtown. She really took an interest in us.
And I understand she was instrumental in getting you to change your name.
She was.
Will you explain that?
Well, because I had such good grades and because I was doing well and active in extracurricular activities, I won a scholarship to the University of Chicago. And a little, as I got ready to go, Miss Herrick took me aside and she said, my name was Johnny then, Johnny Johnson. She said, Johnny, you're a big boy now. Shouldn't you be John? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, do you have a middle name? And I said, yes, it's Henry. She said, no, I don't like Henry. She said, we've got to get you a better middle name. She said, what about Harold? I said, that sounds good. So on that day, I became John Harold Johnson.
All right.
And of course, they kept no records of births in those days. And so if you wanted a birth certificate, you wrote to the government in Little Rock, and you had to find at least 2 people to swear that you were born on that date. And my mother had a lot of people who swear I was born on that date. And so I got a birth certificate as John Harold Johnson.
That is interesting. I do want people to know that history about you.
Mm-hmm.
There were a number of students who would later become famous who went to high school with you.
Yes.
Will you, and graduated with you, as I understand. Will
Yes.
you name a few?
Well, Harold Washington, who later became the mayor of Chicago, Red Fox, who became very well known, Nat King Cole, who didn't know he could sing then, and Dorothy Donegan, who became a well-known pianist. Yeah,
That's quite a graduate.
They taught people well there.
Yes, absolutely.
They took an interest in them, and they cared about us, and we knew they cared about us.
I also understand that when you were chosen to speak at your school's commencement, that the Chicago Defender covered your speech.
It did.
That was your first press coverage.
Yeah, my first press conference. yeah, and they said John H. Johnson and Archibald Carey Jr. would be the speakers.